What's going on, guys? It's Tyler from the Keep Pounding Podcast. Hope you guys are having a good day, a good Friday. But just want to get on here during my lunch and kind of get my thoughts on the joint practice that we had the other day, and then we got the Jags today. Later today, I'm not going to be able to do a live stream on it, but I'll probably go over it later tonight. Go over my thoughts of the game, how everything went, and some the positive, the negatives from it. But I just want to get my thoughts on the joint practice and kind of go over what I want to be able to see in the Jaguars preseason game coming up today. So overall, I feel like, and this is based on the information from Dunk from Unnecessary Bluntness, Carolina Blitz, and a few other the beat reporters. But it seemed like the Jaguars won the day. The Panthers did have a better day offensively than defensively, it seemed. The offense kind of started a little slow, but got much better as practice went on. But the Jacksonville Jaguars had some success, particularly against our defense. And overall, there was some positives, but also some concerns. And I think the biggest story coming out of this practice was more what we saw from Bryce Young and T-Mac, in my opinion. I thought Bryce Young started off obviously under pressure, still having issues up on the offensive line. He took some sacks, would be sacks. The offense obviously struggled early, but he kind of it seemed like he settled in as practice was going on. And T-Mac started getting more involved as the practice went on as well. He made some really good contested catches. He beat some tight coverage, had multiple touchdowns. And you can see that Bryce and him really started getting into a good rhythm. But this Bryce Young T-Mac connection is particularly something I'm getting excited about. But what I thought was interesting was T-Mac mentioned with believe it was Carolina Blitz when they were interviewing him after the practice was they got to stop trying being cute. And I don't know if that meant like players, play calling, or what that really meant, but it just seemed like let's just play football, let's go. But that quote kind of actually kind of rang with me a little bit. But the offense, what I'm looking, we saw with the Bills, and then they didn't even change. The offense started and was slow the whole time, but this practice they start off slow again. Carolina struggled to run the football early during the joint practice. The pass rush, the Jacksonville pass rush, was getting pressure on Bryce. Bryce was sacked again multiple times. The offensive line wasn't consistently creating opportunities, but the offensive line started settling in there, like Dave Canales mentioned during his presser right after the joint practice, and they started playing a lot better. But the question I have several questions. Is this offensive line depth a problem? Like, will the offense look a lot better or look completely different with Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt starting at guard? Because I do think Luke Fortner, he did have a rough day with the Bills, but when you have Chandler Zavala and Brady Christensen, which I feel like is pretty decent swing tackle, just Swiss Army knife offensive lineman, when they're struggling, you're going to struggle at center. So that's what I'm kind of looking for in this preseason game, particularly up front at the guard position, is can the offensive line start off strong? Can we get some push in the run game? We didn't see that at all against the Bills. Can we pass protect well? Can we be on the same page? Again, the whole unit in general is different, right? The whole unit, you have the left tackle, Rasheed Walker, Ike Ekwonu was our left tackle. Then you have Taylor Moton that's going to be out for a little while. You have, oh my gosh, Monroe Freeling at right tackle. You have Damian Lewis that's been out for a while, Robert Hunt that's been out for a while, a new center. This offensive line, the continuity is what I'm looking for. Can they establish good continuity, and can Bryce trust his protection? And then also play calling. Is play calling an issue? We saw how things were clicking and everything looked like the Panthers are in midseason, and obviously it was the Hall of Fame game against the Cardinals, which is a bad team. You're playing against third and fourth stringers, but they just looked good, and the play calling looked good. But then when you look at the Bills game, I don't know if Brad Isaac thought maybe because of how the offensive line play is going that he didn't want to call certain plays, but I saw a lot of check downs, very short intermediate throws, like 5-6 yards, some slants, some digs, nothing crazy down the field. The run game couldn't go anywhere. So I'm looking for a little bit more creativity from a play calling perspective, but obviously the players have to execute but the offensive line is the main thing I'm looking at. I would love to be able to see the offensive line play well and Bryce start off really hot and get the ball moving down the field like the Bills did against us. If the offensive line struggles, particularly if Damian Lewis and Rob Hunt are in today and they're getting significant snaps, like maybe one or two series, they're probably going to be on the pitch count. Honestly, they'll probably play only one series. But can we look solid up front with our starters up there? If we don't and we look slow, and again, we're playing against good defensive linemen. We played against the Bills defensive line, solid. We're playing against the Jags defensive line. They're solid too. But it's going to be concerning for me if the offensive line can't hold up and the offense starts slow in general. I don't want to see Bryce get hit. I don't want to see him take any sacks. But I do – that is a concern for me that coming up is, can we start off – let's not start off slow. Defensively, as far as the joint practices go, it seemed like Zakee Wheatley had a great interception. Nick Scott was able to pick off Trevor Lawrence. Mike Jackson had a nice pass breakup against Brian Thomas Jr., who's kind of seemed kind of like he's been struggling a little bit, particularly last year. Jalen Phillips continues to make plays that we're seeing. The secondary had some good moments, but that's one thing that I want to be able to see this game today against the Jags is I don't want to see the defense give up big chunk plays, which is what we did against the Bills. The Bills in 3 plays, they got into our red zone. I don't want us to see that. I want us to play tight. And I understand like the philosophy of Evero's defense is like bend but don't break. No, let's play tight defense all the way through. We struggled the last several years with pass rush. It seems like pass rush has been doing well. The Jalen Phillips is looking great. And outside of Jalen Phillips, Princely has been doing well. And we didn't have a Derek Brown. I'm curious to see if Derek Brown is going to play. I'm not sure if he's going to play or not. But if we can continue having a good pass rush and our secondary can play the way they were last year, this should be a solid defense. I want to see it all kind of tie together. That's what I'm really looking forward to seeing. But specifically, the secondary, do not give up the big plays. Last game, we didn't give up a lot of penalties, so it seems like we were playing clean football. But I do want to see the continued pass rush from the defense, getting pressure on the quarterback, and the secondary playing solid as well. And we saw during the joint practice, the defense was really struggling with the Jags tight ends specifically. And Evero's defense continues to have issues, and they've had issues for a while covering tight ends. And again, a part of that, I believe, was Christian Rosebroom, Trevor Wallace, not solid tight ends, and those are, and also your nickel too, that are covering the tight ends. And we still, with hearing reports that we're still struggling at the tight end, with covering them, is something that I want to see us clean up tonight. I want to see Jacksonville's tight ends be shut down by our defense, but this continues to be a weakness that I'm seeing. We have to be able to improve this somehow. But some players that I'm, encouraged through this joint practice was T-Mac. Again, I think he's doing well. Bryce Young, I was encouraged with it. He's had some good throws. I'm just more concerned about the offensive line. I'm not too concerned about Bryce Young, which there is some. You want him to start off hot because continued improvement and the next step of Bryce Young as far as being consistent. If he can do that, I think you'll see a significant jump in not just this offense, but on this team. But Bryce Young is someone that I feel like his stock up is going up a little bit, but it's pertaining more so. I know some people think like Bryce Young didn't look good against the Bills, which he obviously didn't, but it's because of the offensive line. You can't have poor, and this is for any quarterback, any team. If you're going to look bad up front, particularly at center in the guard position, any team that loses their 2 starting guards, they're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. Obviously, we did. So I want to be able to see when the starters are in, because I believe Damian Lewis and Robert Hunter are going to be good to go week 1. They're just being smart with them. They don't want to put too much, and then there might be an injury, there might be a setback. But also you want to get them involved a little bit so that way week 1 comes around, it's not, trying to break the ice a little bit. So that's what I think the biggest thing I want to see against the Jags today is, can our offensive line hold up? That's the biggest thing. I do think Felipe Franks is having a good camp, and he had a good practice. Tommy Tremble, he had a good catch against the Jags on joint practice. David Moore, there was reports that he made a good contested catch. Simmons continues to play really well, not just at special teams, but also on defense. So I actually do expect Felipe Franks to make the team. That's going to be interesting to watch, kind of a side note, but I do find it interesting what tight end is going to go. I personally think it's JT Sanders. I do think Darren Waller is going to make the team. I haven't really talked about this yet, but I do think Darren Waller will make the team. You're obviously going to keep Mitch Evans. You're going to keep. I think you're going to keep Tommy Tremble. It would make sense from a cap perspective if you're going to save money. That could make sense. But as far as like on the field performance, I think it's JT Sanders. But Zakee Wheatley's been looking good as well. So some good things, some good players that I've noticed during joint practice that had a good outing. Some things to monitor after the joint practice. There are some injuries, nothing too concerning. You have Cam Jackson that's in the concussion protocol. I don't think he's going to play today, so that's going to allow Lee Hunter to get some more reps, specifically with the ones. So that's going to be fun to watch tonight. Xavier Legette, he got banged up a little bit, but he looked like he's okay, and he's going to be good to go for the preseason game. And then also, I believe Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt. That's what I'm interested to see if they're going to play, which I believe they will, but how many they're going to be on the pitch count. I was just wondering to see if they'll get in for a series or so. So kind of, again, biggest takeaway, I'm not going to be here on that long. I just want to give my thoughts about the joint practice and then the game coming up. So I just want to do this really quick in between my lunch at work today. But again, main thing I'm looking at is offensive line play is the biggest thing. And then making sure that defense doesn't give up big chunk plays. They play aggressive. They play tight. I don't understand for the life of me why we're playing so when we played against the Bills specifically, why we gave up, why the secondary gave so much cushion like on 4th and 3, 4th and 4. I don't understand that. It's the preseason game, bro. That's something that was just really aggravating me is I don't understand if it's the preseason and you want to see a guy line up against another guy, play tight and let's see what they can do. I didn't understand what we're doing on that, but defensively, I do want to see the secondary not give up big chunk plays and the defensive front still getting pressure on the quarterback. So if you guys are new to the channel, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. I appreciate you guys for watching. I will probably go live later tonight to get my thoughts about the game. But unfortunately, with work, I'm not able to go live. So thank you guys for watching. See you on the next one. Peace.